I don't know that there's a high ground to be won right now, but there definitely is a regret trade on the Trump side, and you're seeing a migration, which is very normal for any majority party to come back. So I wouldn't say that Democrats are winning per se, but Trump is not continuing to win.
Do you look at the multiple state gerrymander debate and say, I have a winner, or is it an unknown?
I think it has to be a permanent state of wartime. And I think that these gerrymandering, redistricting cases are going to be a constant source of what we see as long as the two parties remain as competitive as they are. When you have margins that are this slim in the House, you kind of have to keep up with the Joneses. And so whatever Republicans do, Democrats are going to do, and vice versa.
Henrietta, it seemed like the market, at least, the equity markets, have put the trade concerns kind of in a rearview mirror. But then I see President Trump announcing a major tariff on furniture. So I forgot all about that sector stuff. That could be material. Talk to us about what's going on at the sector level, because I thought all this was in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I think the whole street would like it to be in the rearview mirror, but I honestly, and I know this is a lot to say, I think the second half of this year is going to be more volatile on tariffs than the first half of this year. And that's because as soon as this week, if not in the next couple weeks, the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals is going to rule on whether the president has the authority to maintain these IEEPA tariffs, which is where we're getting $2.7 trillion worth of revenue.
What happens?
Well, it's widely anticipated that the courts are going to side with the Court of International Trade, which determined unanimously that Trump does not have the authority to impose these tariffs. So what must happen thereafter is the president has to pivot to Section 232 and 301 tariffs, which is where the furniture announcement came from. So for clients, what I've said for the last couple of weeks now is watch to see if the administration starts to launch new investigations on a sector basis. And they launched 2 last week, wind turbines and furniture. And it's because the Department of Justice is aware that they're very likely to lose this case. And the entire IEEPA structure will be upended.
So is the simplistic phrase, it doesn't go to the Supreme Court?
It does.
It does.
It will. I mean, that's the expectation if they choose to take it up. Yes.
Which they will. I mean, Trump and the administration, they're on a winning streak here. I mean, they've got tons of momentum, it just feels like. So why wouldn't they take everything to the Supreme Court?
They're certainly going to try. They're obviously telegraphing that this is going to be, the biggest disaster since the 1920s if they don't have this continued tariff authority, which is ironic because obviously that's the last time we had tariffs of this magnitude in the first place. But the administration is definitely prepared to go to the Supreme Court, and they're very likely to lose at the Court of Appeals. And it becomes, is this a constitutional legal case, or is it more about politics? And that's where your winning sort of argument comes in.
So, I mean, I guess investors here, we should not get too complacent. Is that kind of what we're saying here?
No.
Because the stock market's setting all-time highs here, and it seems, again, the market seems to have discounted that risk here a little bit.
Well, I think the number one thing I'd say is that when Powell says we could see tariffs be a one-and-done kind of event, think about what's happening. We're getting de minimis change for, I don't know, the 4th, 5th, 6th time this week. We're getting 50% tariffs put on India. Now we're having additional tariffs put on furniture. Those tariffs are going on countries that we already have 50% tariffs on, whether it's India, China, Vietnam. I mean, the sector analysts are the ones that are really going to struggle for the back half of this year.
What is Henrietta Treyz's inside story on the body language from a collective White House? The perception is it's all about President Trump. I get that. But are the cabinet members and the advisors, are they working as one?
I think it's everything everywhere all at once. If you are a cabinet secretary for defense or the IRS or Treasury or wherever, find an issue that you can seize on and blow it out of the water. Whatever you can do to draw attention to whatever your issue is of the day. We're looking for all news items, all headlines at all times.